Okay, let's hype it up and let's go. Welcome back to another build video on Concept Soup, where we do enjoy lovely PC builds, bit of fun, a bit of informative. That's what we like. Today's video, this is one of my favourite designs. I love doing this particular style because it can be scaled all the way down the RTX family of cards, and it just looks really, really cool. So, what build are we talking about? We're talking about the old classic, the Thermaltake S100 TG in white. It's going to be a really nice sort of pure white design, and we're going to see how that turns out. We're going to see some gaming. We're going to see some temperatures. And best of all, you're going to see me. But speaking of me, we have a sponsor, and today's sponsor, as always, is JCPCCustoms.com, where you can pick up the very same PCs that you see built here on the channel, built to a high standard. Can be shipped anywhere in the UK as long as you're not on some remote island or something. And they're just great PCs. High build quality, great spec, and actually the prices are pretty reasonable. Definitely not scalping you here. I'm not making huge profits on these. Absolutely lovely machines. You can tell I really like what I do, so you know you're going to be getting something high quality. That is the plug over. And we're going to be moving into the video proper. And what better way to start than with the parts? And where better to start than the CPU, which is the Ryzen 7 5800X, 8 cores, 16 threads, going in this absolutely baller build. Why do we choose this? Well, it's so fast. It's so good. You've got all 8 cores on a single CCD, so you got no latency penalty. Having the 8 cores, you get a bit more cache as well. That's going to increase your gaming speeds as well. Overall, really nice proposition. And I think this is a better investment for pairing with a 3080 or 3090 compared to a 5600X. I know what the benchmarks say. They say get the 5600X because it's the same. But benchmarks aren't real life. So benchmarks tell you today, in today's games and games from the past few years, how's it going to do? Fine. Yes, I agree the 5600X is probably going to be fine for that. Also, you know, those are on clean test benches with absolutely bare bones Windows. Only things installed are the things required to run the game and the benchmark. So you're not getting a true user experience. So if, you know, most people have Discord and loads of other things, YouTube videos open in the background, in which case having those extra cores, yeah, it's going to be pretty handy. So that's why I always advocate just going a little bit further on the CPU, especially if your PC, you know, you're planning to make it last 3 or 4 years, then you're thinking ahead with the 5800X. Not to say there's anything particularly wrong with getting a 5600X in this build, I just think the balance favours the 5800X. So that's enough about the CPU. You're going to need something to cool that. And we went for something that looks nice and is well priced and actually does a pretty decent job of cooling. Pretty much most liquid coolers, they've all got the same hardware under the hood. They've just got, you know, painted differently or got a fancy RGB head on them. A lot of them are pretty much the same. There's only a few different manufacturers of actual water cooling pumps, etc. So today we're using the ID Cooling Zoom Flow 240. It's the white version, despite what it says on the box. And it's fully RGB, you know, 3-pin RGB. You've got 2 RGB fans in the pump head. I think it looks really cool. And speaking of cool, yes, of course, that is going to help keep our CPU nice and chilled. That's another reason why I didn't go for the 5900X in this build as well, because it's going to be tough to keep it cool in this case, because you haven't got enough room to put a 360 in there, and getting a 280 in here is going to be a real squeeze. So the 5800X made more sense to go with the 240mm liquid cooler. Motherboard. This is a really nice motherboard and completely slept on because it's really good. Like, it's actually a brilliant motherboard. It's the MSI B550M Mortar Wi-Fi. So obviously Wi-Fi, you got Wi-Fi built in, which is Wi-Fi 6 with Bluetooth. I just think that's brilliant. Even if you use Ethernet, having Wi-Fi built in and Bluetooth, it's just an excellent backup. So it's always good if you can get it for only a few quid more. Then yeah, do it. Otherwise, this board's got really good power delivery. I wouldn't, you know, break a sweat putting a 5950X on this thing because it's just so well built. It's got, you know, all the M2 slots that you'd normally get on a B550, except it's the micro ATX form factor. It's completely slept on. It's a really nice motherboard. Although with some price drops recently, there's probably some better options if you are going for an ATX build. But I do really like this motherboard. On to the next component. Next component is our RAM, which is the Crucial Ballistics DDR4 3600 CL16. We've got 16 gigabytes to put in, but of course we've still got 2 spare RAM slots on the board, so if you have got the budget, go up to 32 gigs. It's really good RAM, and it looks really cool as well. For the storage, 1TB Western Digital SN550, really nice NVMe SSD, really good value, and really, this is all you're going to be needing for gaming. You don't need a super fast SSD for gaming. Video card, this is the fun bit that everyone is interested in. We have the Gigabyte Vision RTX 3080. Such a nice looking card, this. It's just, that Vision range from Gigabyte looks awesome. I really am impressed with it. The performance is good as well. It's pretty quiet. It's got a really nice fat heatsink on it as well, so it's a great card all round. We're going to see, it's going to be a bit of a squeeze getting it into this case, but we'll make it work. Don't you worry, sweethearts. Next on the list, power supply. This is the Fractal Ion Gold 850 watt. Really nice power supply. And the other thing with this one is because our case has got a cutout where the PSU is, it hasn't got a really ugly sticker on it. It's just very clean because that's Fractal's kind of design language. I do like the Ion 850. I think it's a really good power supply. You know, it's about the same as a Corsair RM850, so just get whichever one is cheaper. Fully modular, of course, 80 plus gold. All in, really nice. Now, for our RGB effects, in addition to the 2 RGB fans on the cooler, we've also got a pack of EZ DIY RGB fans. These are the Moonlight version and they're white. Make sure you get the 3-pin ARGB with the PWM when you do buy these, so that you can control the speed and the lighting. They look absolutely beautiful, and it looks like they're made for this case. It just looks so nice. Now, our cabling is our own proprietary cabling. Well, it's not. I don't actually make it. I buy it in from a special supplier. But the thing with ours is that, yes, you've got your normal white ATX power connector, but the plug is white, the combs are white, and also we've got the video card PCIe cables, and they're fully white as well. But the other thing is they're combed together, so it looks like one big sheet of cable rather than having the 2 separate ones. And I just think that looks really professional, looks really nice. And that does, the custom sleeve cabling is something that really puts, that extra little bit of class on a build. So I think that's really going to help. And then, of course, what we're going to be building in, as we said at the start, it's a Thermaltake S100 TG. Just really nice value. If you want a white case, a nice compact-ish white case, it's really good. It's micro ATX, but it's actually like pretty much the size of a compact ATX, but it gives you a lot of maneuverability. It's just a really nicely designed case in general. As I said, we're going to struggle to fit this 3080 in there. We do just about get it in, but that's something you might wish to consider when putting this together yourself and speccing it out. So that's our components. What do we do now? What do we do now? We've got to put them in a PC, so come on, boys, let's go! Breaker, we're playing this game here known as Fortnite. Get out of here. I snuck past you. I'm just too fast for you. Get out of here, Caspian. Ain't no time for you. Oh, you'll see. Let's get out. Yeah, baby. That's what I like to see. Get out of here. You think you're some kind of player? Get this guy out of here. Who's this guy think he is? Ah, damn. Well, I didn't have any materials. I almost got him though. I was hoping I'd pick up that other guy's loot. Boom. There's the PC. And you know what I was saying about how nice this setup is? I just love this design. And like I said, I've done this from 3080 all the way down to 3060 using this Gigabyte Vision range. And they all just look absolutely just so good, and I really do like it. Those fans, they work perfectly with this case. They look really nice, gives it that, it's just kind of it's quite a shiny interior. I really do like the design on this. Very, very clean, very, very aesthetic indeed. Temperatures are fine. So this is not a high airflow case, all right? So you're not going to get that kind of Fantex P400A performance where it's really good, but it's not, you know, a glass coffin, if you like. It's not completely cut off because you do have the perforations in the side, so you do have to pull the air at 90 degrees, but there is enough room to get enough air through. So it's not a bad case for airflow, it's just not a really good case for airflow. But actually, that said, temperatures were pretty nice. So we used Prime 95 just to completely stress it out. It's a completely unrealistic workload because it just puts all cores at 100%, which is just never going to happen in real life. But the maximum temperature was 90 degrees. That's actually pretty normal for Prime 95. It sounds really high, but for Prime 95, that is totally normal. When it's all heat soaked and everything's, you know, equilibrated, it ended up settling at around 72 degrees Celsius, and that is more of the proper stress test result. That's the one you want to look at, and that was really good. I think that's pretty nice for a 5800X, which is notorious for being quite hot. I think that came off really nicely. I've used Corsair 240mm coolers in this, and they've been worse, so this is pretty much an expected value. Video card, we use OCCT for this, putting it on the 3D GPU setting for half an hour, and the maximum temperature recorded was 71. I thought that was pretty good. Like that is about what I'd expect in any case, and I can't really have any complaints about that. I think it's probably helped by the fact that the graphics card is so close to where the fans are intaking the air. It's almost like having a radiator because it's just pushing the air straight onto the video card, keeping it nice and cool. So despite the fact this is a very compact case that we've used a lot of the space in, actually temperature's been pretty nice, so can't complain there. The gaming performance which you have seen is, well, it's fabulous. What do you expect from such a great combo? 5800X and 3080. This is where you go, look, I'm high end, but I'm not going to spend stupid money on very high end like 3090s and stuff. I've got the real down the line high end, but not going crazy sort of thing. And I just think it's absolutely brilliant. And with that said, let's not talk your ear off anymore. I want to hear from you in the comments. What did you like? What did you dislike? And just let me know your thoughts on the build. Have you done something similar? What are your little tips and tricks? I'm always happy to hear your comments down there in the comments section, as well as a like and a subscribe while you're at it, because that would be real sweet.